Welcome everyone to another night of Live and Unfiltered. I'm your host, Kia Nicole.
And I'm your co-host, Shana Elaine.
And I'm super excited tonight. Obviously, it's another solo night. But I'm excited because you guys are going to get to know us a little bit more. We're going to let y'all a little bit into our childhood and upbringing. Just a little bit, not too much. And feel free to chime in as well and answer these questions. So we're not just talking to ourselves. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions as well. So the first topic I want to talk about is what type of kid were you growing up? Like, how would your parents describe you?
I'd say I was very funny. I have my funny moments. And I don't know, I was always I was never a rule breaker. I always listened to my parents. I was always scared to get in trouble, so I never did anything that could, I learned very young. I know what whooping was, and I tried my best to stay away from it. So I was just very mindful. I was also a very studious child too. I stayed focused on school, get my grades together. I never really did mischievous things. Now, as I got older, in high school and stuff, it's a little bit different. You hang out with a little bit different crowd and stuff. But I wouldn't get into fights and all that unless necessary. But I wasn't a trouble kid. I was pretty good growing up. I just listened because I knew my parents, I kind of seen their lifestyle and how they were. So for me, it was an example. I didn't have the fussing, the fighting, the cussing, all that stuff. I had a good example, so I kind of wanted to follow that. So my childhood was pretty good. I just follow the example that was set before me.
Okay. So, were you outspoken though? Let me just dig a little deeper. Were you outspoken, shy?
Um, I wasn't really shy, no, and I was also involved in sports a lot. So for me, it's I already had to be, performing in front of an audience or auditorium or something. So for me, this is shaking. So for me, no, I wasn't shy. I was very outspoken. Sometimes that'll get me into trouble. It still do as an adult. That I will say I kept that growing up. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
vocal how I feel about certain things. I'm very vocal on that. I will say. So yeah, very outspoken. There's some things I would dismiss, but when it was time for me to speak up, I
You
would speak
spoke up.
up.
Right,
Uh-huh.
right. Love that. All right, you know what I forgot to do before I go into my response?
What we
Our
drinking?
drinks. What are you
I know.
sipping on tonight? Don't say air.
Juice.
Okay, I'm sipping on cran watermelon. I don't know if anyone has tried it, but for me, it's the best flavor of what is it of the cranberry fruit cocktail drinks. Watermelon. I used to say what that white strawberry one was pretty good and grape. This takes the cake. All right. For me, I was the opposite. So I wasn't outspoken. I was actually quiet and shy, only outside of the house. Inside of the house, I was the opposite. I gave my siblings a run for their money. I was definitely outspoken when it came to them. We fought a lot. I had anger issues that I'm happy I outgrew, but it was bad. I would literally let the smallest things upset me, and
Right.
I would just go off. But overall, I was a really good kid, and my mom would say that I was a good kid. She didn't have to worry about me when it came to school because I pretty much did all my homework, didn't never ask for help with anything, and I made straight A's at one point. Always was on the honor roll though, always on the honor roll. And I was just a good kid. I was a bookworm too, stayed in my books. I used to read 5 books at one time, and I don't know how I remembered the plots of every book, but I did. So I was a good kid overall, but I had some anger issues, but overall, I was a good kid. I didn't have many friends. I stuck with a select couple, but I didn't surround myself with too many people. So there's that. All right, so moving into the next one. What were some family traditions or memories that you loved while growing up?
So I'm thinking, I'm not that old, but Jesus. I'm thinking back, what family traditions did we do? Growing up, my mom used to always do this. When I was smaller, it's we would all sit around the dinner table, eat Sunday dinner. Not only just Sunday dinner, but usually throughout the week, we'll sit around the table with family and have family time and sit down. As we got older, it's like, people got busier and, we all grow up and it's like, don't nobody want to sit, all the time. But that's something that I loved. And that's like a tradition for mine where you sit down with your family on a Sunday for Sunday dinner or throughout the week periodically and have a meal, talk about what's going on, and just kind of take that time to open up. So that's something that I know stuck out with me. And I always remember as a kid, it's like my mom, she's very much like a nurturer, and I get that from her too. So it's like we would all sit down with my older siblings on my dad's and my dad would get his plate first. Like that was always a thing. Like my dad get his plate first, and then like everybody else ate. And then so as I grow older, I understood why. Like okay, he's the provider, and I kind of just learned some of those things. And I'm like, oh, you can't just sit down and start eating. Okay, so I thought like that's something that I would want to carry over, and that stuck with me growing up. Like it stuck with me. So that's something that would be like a family, probably like family tradition that I'll keep up. What else did we do? We always celebrate the holidays together, no matter what. I tend to like for Christmas, I don't mind going somewhere, but I tend to not go nowhere for Christmas. Like I just want to be home with family. Like that's just, I think it just feels weird to be somewhere else
Anywhere
without
else,
family.
right? Not with your family.
Not that it's weird. It's just I prefer growing up. That's just always been a time like okay, no matter what you're doing, we're gonna get with the family. So I definitely will keep that as well. And just kind of, talking about our problems and stuff. Like my parents always made a judge-free zone to talk about how I feel or whatever the case is. And as a daddy's girl, I go to my dad and I'm just like, okay, Dad, this is how I feel as a woman, and it's great to get his perspective as a man. So I do talk to my dad to get his perspective because sometimes with my mom, she's more like, well, she give me her opinion and she's like, well, maybe run that by your dad too and just kind of get both sides. And that's, that's how it works. They're partners. So I love that for me. I always had a free space to talk to my dad and, just tell him like how I feel about certain situations. And right. He be getting me together, child. He be like, you wrong. And I'm like, no, Daddy, I'm not. But one thing, he gonna tell me, he gonna keep it real with me every time, no matter if I'm right, if I'm wrong. He's always gonna share with me, the truth. Like, he never just picked my side because I'm his daughter. He'll tell me dead to my face, no, Chanel, that was wrong. Yes, Chanel, this was right. So I feel like having that type of communication with your parents, that's something I want to keep with my kids. So those are some of the, few things that I continued through my childhood that I want to share with my child. So, yeah.
I love that, especially the last thing about being able to talk to your dad about anything and just knowing that you can get that honest feedback because not many people grew up having that. So it's awesome that you did. Also, when you mentioned like when you sit at the dinner table and then like the man is served first, as a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be looking sideways like, hold up now, I'm the kid, where's my plate? I used to be looking sideways like I just didn't understand it as a kid, but obviously we understand now as an adult why the man was served first. And if you grew up in the church, then there's like biblical meaning behind it too. But
that's what I say.
I learned that. I was like, I'm starving. Why does he need this big old plate anyway? And why is he getting served first? Like I just did. I was a little selfish a little bit, but I understand it now for sure. So that was definitely a tradition as well. More so at my grandparents' house. Like at my parents' house, we all just ate wherever our separate ways. We didn't sit at the table. At my grandparents' house, we always sat at the table, always said our grace. Grandpa was served first. Like, it was very, very traditional. Like, so some of my favorite memories were spending the night at my grandma's house, more so my mom's mom, having sleepovers there with my siblings and my cousins, and we'd be outside playing late nights, and my grandma come out there looking for us to come in the house. Not gonna lie, we were a little bad, so we used to run away from her. We used to run away. She'd go get a switch and be trying to chase.
Grandma Linda?
No, this is my mom's mom. Oh, she didn't play. She quit to grab a switch. Then she also made you go pick out your own switch. She was one of those real old school grandmas. And it's crazy because my cousin, God rest his soul, he used to always run away from her knowing he could outrun her. Like, he was super fast. And I'm like, stop, don't do grandma like that. See, I would just do a little fake run, and eventually I'm going to go in the house. I just do a little 1, 2, and then I run in the house. But, yeah. Anyway, playing outside with my cousins till late night, sleeping over at grandma's house, waking up at grandma's house together, wondering, okay, grandma cooking breakfast, like just those type of memories. I love. Also, we would also always go to St. Augustine, which is where like my dad's side of the family, most of them live, and we would mainly visit my great grandma when we would go. But just trips to St. Augustine every year, especially back to school shopping. Oh my gosh, loved it for back to school shopping. Like they had like some of the best malls, and they had just built like a premium outlet mall out there. So love those memories. And then like you said, holidays like Thanksgivings, my mom and grandma threw down. Christmas, I always had the best gifts. Like I never really had to want for anything, and I just thank God for like my parents, including grandparents, for just making those things memorable. Because even though it's not about the gifts, as a kid, we feel some type of way if we come back to school, we don't have no gifts, and we're seeing our parents come back to school with gifts. That just makes us feel like, dang, why we couldn't get that. So I never had to have those feelings because I always came back with the gifts. So those are some of my memories.
Love.
I love it. I love going out memory lane. That was fun. All right, moving into the third topic.
I'm like, we're adults now.
You got more?
No, I'm just saying, like, when you say you love the fact that you're going down memory lane, so yeah, as an adult now, it's like, okay, you really do sit down and reflect, like, man, I had a really good childhood growing up. But as a child, you don't feel that way. You're like, man, my parents strict. They don't let me do this, don't let me do that. And then when you get your own kid, I'm like, my kid step outside, I'm behind her too. And she's like, oh, Ma. I'm like, too much just be going on now. But I never understood as a kid. My mom, same thing. She wouldn't let me go to the grocery store by myself. She would always hold my hand.
I couldn't sleep over nobody's house.
Right. I definitely couldn't. And even family and stuff like that, like they were just, a little skeptical when it came to that. But it's just, they're just trying to protect you as a kid, protect you in your innocence and everything. So I understand now that once you become a parent, it's like, oh my gosh, every time I talk to my parents, I'm just like, oh, I understand why you did this. Like it makes sense now, but it would only make sense because I'm a parent. Now, so I'm in that position now where I have to say hard no's. I have to say yes. And like I explained to my kid, I can't say yes all the time. I'm your bestie, yes. But when it's time to, really, step in as a parent, I'm not going to say yes if it's going to put you in harm's way. So my kid just always expect me to say yes because most times I do say yes. But I'm like, the amount of time I heard no and you hear yes? Oh.
It don't equate, huh?
It don't. So you just got to be mindful of that, especially when you're a parent. It's like, okay, it just all makes sense. Like this is what your parents prepared you for before you became a parent. So
yeah, we definitely didn't understand it when we were a kid, and sometimes we find ourselves sounding like our parents. It's like, dang, that's something I heard like my mom or my dad say to me, and now I'm using those phrases, or now I'm sounding just like them. And back then it's like, why are they being so hard on me? Like, why can't they be like such and such parent or da da da? But now you understand, and that saved us from a lot of situations. So I'm thankful to have had strict parents. I don't know where I'd be if they were loose and let me do whatever. All right, so moving into the next topic, what was a challenge you faced growing up that helped shape you into the person you are today? It could be multiple.
A challenge? But give me an example, because I'm like, a challenge that I faced.
So, like, do you want me to go first? Because I can just give
just start an example, then you could just an example. A challenge I faced.
What was something you struggled with as a kid, maybe, but like you've overcame it and it shaped you into the person you are today? Maybe your mouth, and now you learn to control it a little bit more. I don't know.
Thanks,
it could be anything small or big.
Okay, so but yeah, as a kid though, like I wasn't like a disrespectful kid at all. But when I got upset, I really got upset. So that I want to say, okay, so I guess that could be an example, like a challenge for me. Even now, sometimes I just gotta be mindful. Like a lot of times, like road rage is a thing that is just a thing. I'm going to just say it's a thing. So, like, when you're driving, you do have to be mindful. Sometimes you might just say something, slick out your mouth to the wrong person, and now it's okay. Now it's a situation. So I'm just mindful of that. Like, when I drive on the road, as much as I want to get out the car and really say how I feel when people are like putting my life in danger or like my kid's life or someone that's with me in danger, I do got to be mindful. Like, sometimes it's just better to just pray yourself out of the situation, pull over and catch a little quick breath or two versus you saying something, triggering the next person. Sometimes, when you're upset and you just act on your first instinct, you're going to say the wrong things. Because boy, do I have to go back and be like, oh, I was wrong for saying so and so, because you're just so upset in that moment. You just really want the anger to get
Right.
out. And it's like, okay, you know, you may say the wrong things, you may trigger the wrong people. So
It's crazy.
that's right. So I'm like, that's something that more so happened, I want to say, in my teenage years. Like, you know, my mouth was real reckless. Like, it can get that way. And I just try to remind myself, like, as you grow and you mature, it's just like, you know, there's a time and place for everything. Like, you know, everything can't upset you. You got to let some things go. And then there's something that's worth your energy. So I just kind of learned that, okay, back then, you know, when you don't have a kid, it's just you know, you just be popping it because that's what you
Yeah,
could
more
do.
hot-headed.
Right, very hot headed. But as you grow older, it's like, okay, you know, my decisions don't just affect me, it affects my child, it affects my family, it affects everyone around me. So you're more mindful of what you're doing. So that, I will say, is a challenge for me. Even now, nobody is perfect, and I do, you know, sometimes may get real slick, but I'm just more mindful of what I may say. I might say something, but maybe not at that moment, or I just wait till, you know, I'm kind of more under control with my emotions before I say something, because I don't want to say something in the heat of the moment and then, like I say, you know, trigger someone else. I don't know what they're going through, how their day was, and it's like, here I come, and you know, whatever they're going through gets dumped on me, and it may not work out in my favor. So I'm just a little bit more mindful when it comes to my mouth, and you know, how you say certain things to people, because you could say something too, and it's not in a disrespectful way, but maybe your tone, your body language, or how you deliver it, and it's like, dang, you know, this person coming off this way and this way, and it's like, in all reality, to me, it's normal, but you may perceive it that way. So just be more mindful of my body language and everything. Yeah. That
Mm-hmm.
was a challenge. I'm
That's
still working with that,
a
but
big one. Yeah,
uh-huh.
and don't feel bad, because a lot of, I mean,
Oh,
come
I
on,
don't
most of us,
feel
even
bad,
as
baby. What you mean? I
adolescents,
do
we
not.
go through that.
I don't feel bad, but I'm just saying that's something that is a
Well,
little bit
it's
more
common, is what I
harder
mean. Like, it's
to
common
work on.
to
Right.
have had, because I know for me personally, like I said, I had anger issues, and I struggle with just how to navigate through those emotions. And so sometimes, like, I would bottle them up and then explode, or I just
Right.
let every little small thing affect me.
Right.
And then when I come down, because it's literally as if I was having like an episode or something. Like, it used to be that bad to where I was like, hold up now, do I need to be evaluated? Because it would feel like an episode. Because when I come down, I realized, wait, I
Right.
overreacted, you know, but it's
Right.
too
It
late
wasn't
at
that
that point. I
bad.
done already
Yeah.
reacted.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
And
my siblings used to call my mom job, like, come get your daughter. My mom be like, I'm at work. Da, da, da. It was real bad. So that was a major
and
challenge.
something I wanted to add to that too, since you made a good point. Like, sometimes you do overreact, and once you say certain things out your mouth, that you know, they always say hurt people hurt people. When you're hurt in that moment, you're hurting someone else, and you're not
Yeah.
realizing, like, when you do calm down, it's like, man, I didn't know I was so upset. You know, said the wrong things. You can't take back what you said, and you know, once it's out there, it's out there. So yeah, you just got to be more
Yep.
mindful, more cautious of what you're saying. You know, just step back a little bit, breathe, and then approach the situation. So
Yeah, I've definitely
yeah.
evolved since then. So now I know how to manage my emotions a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a challenge that I've overcome. Like you said, no one's perfect. So obviously we're gonna have moments where, like, we get angry, but that's normal. We're human. We're gonna
Yeah.
get angry. You know what I'm saying? It's just knowing how to manage those emotions. Another thing for me is I struggled growing up with speaking up for myself. So you say you were more outspoken, you didn't mind, like, speaking up for yourself. Like, if you felt some type of way, if you felt like you needed to speak up for yourself, you would. I wouldn't. I hated confrontation. Um, I hated being put in uncomfortable positions, so I would often just stay quiet.
All right.
And that results in sometimes people taking that for a weakness and talking to you crazy, because they feel like, oh, she ain't gonna say nothing back. You know, she gonna allow us to, you know, say whatever. And I realized as I was getting older, like, hold up. People are literally trying you and you just letting them. You
All
need to
right.
speak up. And so I just learned to speak up. I want to say by high school, I had it down pat. That's how long I struggled. I struggled from a little girl up until high school, and then it just clicked. Like, no, you have a voice, you can use it. Don't be afraid of nobody. And it wasn't even about being afraid. I just hated confrontation. So then I started speaking up. and you couldn't shut me up. Because I spoke up about everything. It went from me not speaking up enough to then I started over speaking up. I'm like, oh no, I don't like this, I don't like that. You're not gonna talk to me this like this. And I was just cutting people off. It was just it was a lot that happened once I really found my voice. But now I'm in a space where like I know to speak up for myself, but know when to be quiet too. Because you have to, it has to be a balance. But that is something that I overcame, and I'm proud of myself for it because that was a huge challenge. It was scary. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was very scary to finally find my voice. But yeah, all right. Let's move into the hot topic of.
Okay.
It's not even much of a hot topic because when I think of hot topic, I think of some tea. It ain't really tea. It's good tea, I guess. So
Okay.
some cold tea.
I'm ready.
Ready? All right. So streamer Kai Cenat became the first Twitch streamer to reach 400,000 subscribers. Most of us know who he is. So I'm going to talk about how big of a moment this is for him and for the younger generation that look up to him, and just about the impact that he has on the younger and as well as older generations. And just the importance of seeing a young Black man breaking down barriers. So what are your thoughts on that? Good news.
Okay, so one, kudos to him. Give him his flowers. He is doing his thing online. I will give him his flowers, and I love that. A lot of people now that are like in the younger generation are stepping more so into like social media because like phones and like computers and stuff kind of really started popping around our era. I want to say it's like we knew what a BlackBerry looked like, a little flip phone, like it started popping a little bit around our time. So I feel like to come now, like YouTube has gotten so big, Twitch has gotten so big, TikTok, X now, can't even remember Twitter, child, but it's gotten so big now that it's like people blow up off these things. So to see someone that is he's 22, so to see someone that is so young kind of just break down the barriers like you said and kind of created this space, I feel like he's such an inspiration to so many people, young, old, woman, female, it doesn't matter what race you are. I just feel like he's just kind of showing you like, listen, I took a leap of faith. And he had a segment with his mom, like he brings his mom on there sometimes, but he had a segment with his mom, and he basically told his mom like, listen, this is what I want to do. And his mom's like, she didn't stop him. And a lot of times I feel like as parents too, it's like if your kid comes to you and say, hey, I'm not going to the military or I'm not going to college, it's kind of like you like, well, what you doing with your life? You just give them like those two options, or maybe starting a business now is like a third option. But a lot of times if someone say, hey, I want to step into the Twitch, the YouTube world, we got to encourage people in all honesty because it is a way of life. It is putting food on the table. It's creating a living and stuff. So I definitely appreciate the fact that he's just showing so many people, and not only is he showing people, he's actually bringing people along. Like he's helping his friends too and the people around him that he's inspiring. So for him to be so young, I just know he has so much more to do, so much more to ways to go. And he's also a good example when it comes to pouring back into the community. Like even though he's making money off YouTube and he's doing all these things, he really could just be selfish. He could just be worried about himself. But the fact that like he takes time to pour back into the community, I feel like speak volumes not only to his character but to his mom too. It's like he's pouring into the people that are pouring into him. People are subscribing to him and watching him and helping him grow, but he's also giving back to his supporters. So I love that for him, that he hasn't forgotten where he came from. And his mom, she touched on that. She was a single mom of 4. And it's hard when you're a single mother and your son's telling you, listen, I want to get on YouTube. And you sit here like, if you don't go out there and get a 9 to 5 or, something that, that's stable, right? As most parents would,
Yeah.
like, no, you need to go to college. You got to get, you got to do this, this, and this. You give them a checklist. So I feel like when you allow your kid to kind of be expressive and kind of, just step into like their creative side, you never know. Because like you said, if he never took a leap of faith, he wouldn't be where he is today. His mom could have been like, listen, YouTube is not a real job. You're just not doing it. And she could have deterred him. She could have, discouraged him. But in other words, she's like, okay, if this is what you want to do, by all means. And look at that. He take care of his mom. He take care of his sibling. He take care of his friends. And I love the fact that he's coming from that. Like he understands he came from nothing and he's really making something and showing people that you can too. So I love that. And for him to be so young doing it, it's like, age is one thing, but he's like he's inspiring people that are older than him is what I love. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just like younger generation, but everybody's coming up like, oh, I want to get on Twitch. I want to get on Twitch. And I'm like, I wasn't familiar with this whole Twitch stuff until him. And then it's like, I'm like, oh, this is a whole world that people literally just show their personality online and, you know, do whatever the case is. But it's his personality that just draws people to him, you know. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he's just a great example in the community. He's not a kid that like gets in trouble, and he's just showing you like, listen, this is my life. I have fun. You could do it too. So I love that. That's my 2 cents on him.
Girl,
Just from what I
5 cents ain't 2 cents.
that's what I've observed from his whole content and stuff. Like I see past everything else, but I do see like he really do genuinely have a good heart for someone to, like I said, take the time out to just kind of reach out to different people that are just not in his age bracket. So I love the fact that he's setting a great example.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think heavy on he's young doing it. Like
Right.
that's so inspirational because and not to get hung up on the age thing, but a lot of us once we get closer to 30, we start thinking, "Oh Lord, you
Life about
know,
over.
right,
Right.
life is about over. We
Uh-huh.
didn't get to do the things that we set out we was going to do before
Right.
30." And so we just get into our heads, but just seeing like people younger than us like doing their thing, it's inspiring because it still gives us hope. Like, you know what? If they can do it, we can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they
Right.
younger making an impact. We're older. We can do it too, you know? So
Right.
I just love that, like you said, he's inspiring generations. I didn't know what Twitch was until him. I'm like, what is a
Right.
Twitch? I didn't even know streaming was a thing. So I can imagine why, in this day and age, why parents may look at their kids crazy when they talk about, oh, I think I want to be a streamer. Like, okay, they in high
Right.
school, they have to
Right.
start thinking about colleges, and they're like, oh, I don't want to go to college. I want to be a streamer.
Right.
As a parent, I would look
I,
crazy too because streamer,
hello.
what is that?
And
If you
when
don't
you
go to
do
if you don't get this
when you
trade
do the streaming too, it's not like you're making money right then and there. Sometimes it takes a while to develop. So
to
as a
build
parent,
that
you
audience,
right, you
yeah.
will look at your kid sideways. Like, what you mean you're not going to college? Like, what do you mean you're not securing a degree? Like,
You
what do
ain't
you
gonna
mean? Like
stay in
for
this
us,
house.
for
Look,
us, it was two options. You either went to college or you went to like, you know, doing something else. But it wasn't much of an option when you tell your parents like, yeah, I want to start a YouTube. Oh, I know my parents look at me crazy. Okay.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh. They would look at me
So
crazy.
I love that he is bringing more awareness to it because, like you said, it's been around,
Right.
but he's bringing way more awareness to the platform, which is why he's highly paid because he's bringing so much awareness to it and just uplifting, like you say, the young and the old. And I just love the impact that he has, and he's a young kid, like doing his thing. Like he could be doing so many other things, like you say, in trouble, in and out of jail. There's just some like at 22, I wouldn't be thinking about doing half the stuff he's doing. Like at 22, I was what in college living my life. Were we in
Uh-huh.
college living our life?
You
Uh huh.
just became legal to get a little sip, so
So yeah, I just think it's super inspiring, and
right.
I just want him to keep going. And like you say, he has so much more of life to live. So there's no telling what more he has in store for the world. So there's that. Now let's move into this or that. Baby, it's 9/11. Let's hurry up, okay? Speed round it. You ready?
Okay. Uh-huh.
All
All
right.
right.
So this is like 90s edition because we're talking about childhood. All right.
Let's
Disney
go.
or Nickelodeon? Just be quick.
Disney or Nickelodeon? Ooh, so that's good.
I'm
All
gonna have to do
right.
you like that.
Oh no, baby, you ain't gonna
We
do me
don't
like
have
that.
time.
I was a Disney girl for like That's So Raven, Victorious. I was a Disney girl for that.
Mm.
But Nickelodeon, I couldn't give up SpongeBob for nothing. I'm gonna catch that every Saturday morning. Tom and Jerry, all of them, like that was like. So I have it for different things, like more like animated would be Nickelodeon, more so like shows would be Disney. I don't know, I'm split.
You have
I
to
feel like I watch
choose.
Disney more. I watch Disney more, but I like both. Let's not get it twisted.
All right, Disney. Her. I was the same way. I watched both, but Disney was primarily what I
Mm-hmm.
would. Well, I watched certain stuff on Nickelodeon, but mainly
Right.
Disney. All right, the Razor phone or the BlackBerry? Which one did you like
The
more?
Razor phone or the BlackBerry? Oh my God, Kill.
Mm-hmm.
You just
I'm coming with it, yeah. And I thought of this one myself.
um I guess I said a BlackBerry. I mean, I just said a BlackBerry and called it a day.
That's a good one. I always wanted one. I never got one. I'm gonna say Razor because I actually had one and actually loved that
I
phone.
used to take my daddy's boy, and back then it was like your parents didn't want to get your phone until you got to like high school and everything. But I used to say like, "Can I play a game?"
I play a game.
Right.
All right, Bill Nye, the Science Guy, or Magic School Bus.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Magic School. I like both. Oh, so you came with the
I
questions tonight.
yes.
I'm all. Every one of them making me double take. I don't. Oh my God, I watched Bill Nye, but I feel like I like the Magic School Bus. I guess I said the Magic School Bus more, but I like both.
Mm-hmm. Same. I prefer the Magic School Bus, but don't sleep on Bill.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Bill, and we watched him a lot in science class, so I enjoy it when the teacher will put that on. But yeah, Magic School Bus, me please. Easy bake oven or a Barbie dream house? This should be easy.
I'm gonna say I don't know. Like
You was a Barbie girl?
Oh my God, I don't know,
It's not
man.
meant
These
to
options.
I knew this one was gonna be easy. This was not meant to stump you. Not this one.
No, because I'm like the options you're giving me. I like both for different reasons. So I'm like I want to say when it comes to I say Barbie. No, I ain't like Barbie when I was younger. I really didn't care for Barbie. I feel like I cared for Barbie now that like once I had a
Once you
kid,
had a
it's like when I
kid,
got into
yeah.
I got into Barbie. I wasn't like a Barbie girl. I was more like a Bratz. Like I
Me
loved me
too. I
some.
was a Bratz girl. Had me a
I love
Bratz doll. I
Bratz
did not
doll.
have
But I'm like,
Barbie.
I don't know. Barbies for me just that was around, but I don't think Barbies was as big for me. It's like I would always choose Bratz because like, their head was always bigger than their body, so it's always so funny to me. So I always went with Bratz. But now that I have a kid, I know all about Barbie. I sure do.
So easy bake oven? You never really give an answer.
Yeah, because I'm like, I wasn't really a Barbie girl.
Okay.
Like
Easy
these
bake oven.
options, these options are kind of good. See,
I
I'm like,
know. I did my big one. I
these
wish we
are
could have
good.
started on time,
They kind of
but
stumped me a little bit. I didn't think you were gonna come like this. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, it's gonna be easy. Oh, you came
I
with
came
your
with the.
okay.
I had the. I said it was about our childhood. So I had to take it
Oh,
back to our childhood.
okay. You meant all the way
So,
back to childhood. Gotcha.
huh.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm gonna say easy bake oven. I always wanted one, never got it, but whatever. But I always wanted one so that I could eat
Whatever
the
is
fruits.
insane.
Not the fruits, the foods. I used to want to try brownie or something from there. Whatever. All right, that's it. So
Okay,
that
great.
is the end of the live. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in next week on Chanel's page. Make sure you stay tuned to our Instagram page, Live and Unfiltered, where we'll be posting highlights of this live. Check out our YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't. The full video will be posted later this week. And that's it. Thank you, sis. This was a very fun live. I love
Very
talking
good.
with you. And yeah, have a great night.
Bye, girl.